Hello, friends, and welcome to 10 Points Under, where the best part of playing online is you don't need to wear pants. This is Big Bullfrog coming at you today, and today I've got a really cool and special guest joining me today. He is one of the best online Heroscaper players, I guess. I don't know. He's one of the best players of Heroscape around today. I think he's ranked number 1 on the online ranking system right now. Really cool guy. I've played against him a lot. He's beaten me a lot. Beaten him a couple times, and those are like little things I'm proud about. It's kevindola joining me.
Hey, nice to be here. I didn't get the notice about the pants, but it's easily fixable, so
Yeah,
all
I know,
set now.
right? The best thing is we also don't stream the camera, so we're all good.
Excellent. It's pointed in the right direction anyway. So
All right. Today we've got the second semifinal game from the Reverse Draft online Heroscape tournament game dealio that happened. This is unfortunately the last game that I have. I lost the finals game when my computer died. Yeah, it was a really sad day. Fortunately, I had this game backed up. Did not have the finals game. Pretty bummed about that because we don't get the climactic conclusion. But still, this will be a good game. I'm really excited for it. We've got Superfrog playing over on the left. We've got his monk army with, let's see, we've got 3 squads of Shaolin monks. We've got Master Lao Jin, Chen Tang, Raylan the Kiri warrior, as well as Zetacron. Nice little army going on there. If you've been following the channel, we've seen it a couple times, but it's a cool one. And it'll be a really interesting matchup playing against Agentward, who is actually one of the French Heroscapers on the forums. So it'll be really cool to see him in action today. This will be the first time seeing him. He's over on the right. He's got, since this is reverse draft, he drafted down his army to 3 2/3 of squads of Dreadgull Raiders, plus Valgard and Guilty McCreech. He dropped 1 Dreadgull Raider figure as well as 5 red wormlings. So, pretty interesting matchup.
yeah, you can definitely see looking at this map why you probably think red wormlings are pretty strong. There's a lot of height in the middle of the map that you have to climb pretty high up to get to, and flying range is good. So
it is, yeah, and especially against a bunch of high-priced common figures as well. That's right. Like nail in the coffin. So
yeah,
not really surprised that those got dropped. I wonder if there were a way to drop figures from both armies, if Zetacron might have been dropped too. Although this map isn't quite as double space friendly as it is. I mean, flying single spaced ranged figure friendly.
friendly for everybody there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Zetacron maneuvers on this map.
Yeah, it'll be cool. And this is a pretty cool map as well. This is Ayrwode's Bluff. We did one game on it earlier. Had a cool discussion about it. Oh, that's true. That was also kevindola's game. You should check it out. He played really well, and it was a good game. I'll leave it there. But that's also why I'm really excited to have kevindola with me today, is because he's got experience playing on this map. I know he's got a pretty good eye for maps in general, and so I'll be excited to see just what he brings to the table as far as that map discussion and how you balance playing on a map like this in a tournament format. So it'll be really cool.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I don't know that this is fully balanced in a normal standard format.
Mm-hmm.
I think the formats you've seen played on this are like a heat of battle style, or in this case where you've reverse drafted down your army to some set point, so you could take into account if you're placing first or second, because that's a known quantity. So you can kind of decide which side of the map you want to set up on and which side is probably better, and then base part of your drafting down system as part of that.
Yeah, definitely cool when you can. I really like those formats where you can like take advantage of different kinds of maps like that, where you've got like reverse draft or heat of battle, where like you don't have to have the most fine-tuned maps in order to still be able to work around it.
No, I really like it. I really enjoy playing like asymmetrical maps or maps that are an oddity. It's just for tournaments they can be unbalanced, right? So it's nice to have some formats that can kind of ignore that or take it into account when you're picking your team, so to speak.
Yeah.
To make up for that imbalance.
Yeah, for sure. And that's probably one of my favorite things about Heroscape, really, in general, is just being able to have that flexibility with formats and such. Especially online Heroscape, where there's so many different kinds of formats that are able to do that.
Really,
it's really cool. But we'll go ahead and get this game rocking into rolling. So going into this matchup, like just looking at the army matchup, I know like this game was played out a while ago, so I'm I know who won. I'm sure you probably still know who won. But what do you think about the army matchup going into the game?
So I probably will always pick the side that has Raylan on it.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so Raylan's over there. I mean, in the makeup of the armies are a bit similar, right? You've got all melee +1 ranged figure. Agentward's guilty will bond. That's significant. But the monk's army, with how Master Lao Zin will work, is you will typically see 4 figures being used with his bonding power, and you'll also see 4 figures from that. So it's also fairly even from an activation figure standpoint, but the fact that you've got Raylan on that side, plus the monks are just going to like using their Whirlwind Assault against multiple Dread Ghouls likely means that he'll get more attacks per order marker than the Dread Ghouls, unless Agent Ward really leans into guilty. So,
Mhm.
so all that to say, I'd say I'd probably prefer the monks army in this matchup.
That definitely makes sense, especially if Superfrog's playing his order markers correctly, he could even have like the Zedekron to counter out the guilty threat.
Yeah,
Could even snipe guilty.
Yeah, that's the thing that maybe leans more towards Agent Ward is the guilty being able to bond, and so he doesn't have to play around with those order markers like Super Frog has to have a little bit of foresight on when he's activating Zedekron, whereas Agent Ward has the luxury of picking and choosing whenever he wants to activate guilty.
Yeah, that'll definitely be really, really nice for him.
And to that point, I think a key part of this is if one or the other goes down first. If guilty or Zedekron were to go down first, then the person who now has the lone ranged figure really can set up more to how they like and draw the action in towards them. But it's not really easy. Although it is interesting where Zedekron's set up in the start zone. So he is in Raylan's aura, but if he goes north, he won't be. And he's not really set up that well as he's placed to go to any of those 2-level spots where he moved the monks out to. So I think that's an interesting decision point for Super Frog as this goes on.
Yeah, I was actually looking at that start zone setup a little bit earlier, where Raylan is just so committed to the south side of the start zone. Makes me think, I don't know, probably Super Frog is hoping to move her, I don't know, later on this round or another round, but and he's already got 2 Shellan monks outside of her aura.
Yeah.
Zedekron's just gonna run north.
Yeah, so I feel like if you were going to run Zedekron north, and don't get me wrong, those level 4 spots there on the west side of the map are very juicy looking locations for Zedekron to set up and just fire away.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you might have wanted to set Raylan up closer to that area.
Yeah, that, I could see, because right now it seems like Superfrog's kind of blockading on the south side of the start zone and then maybe setting up a Zedekron turret on the north when you could just, do all of that up in the north, I think.
Yeah, it's not very very sexy, but you could just set Zedekron up on those level 4s and surround them with monks, and you wouldn't even have to move Raylan, right, if she was just up on that north start zone spot to start with. And pick at Agent Ward's army with big Zedekron hits and really force him to come in. You might give up Holder doing that, so maybe that's a concern because that's a decent glyph for both Zedekron and guilty in this matchup.
True. Yeah, that's very true.
So Agent Ward's he's chosen to activate Valgard first, put him on the road, and now he is declining bonding.
Interesting. Guess he must be, because he's not super close to any of Superfrog's figures right now, but he must be banking on that, what's it called, Berserker Charge?
Yeah, that seems like a really rough decision, I guess, because if you're going to bank on the Berserker Charge is the only way you'll get an attack off, and even then it wouldn't really be an advisable attack.
Right.
I'm not sure the biggest reason to forego the bonding there. In fact, with Zedekron located where he is, I would have been tempted to move Valgard further down the road.
Yeah, Valgard would be a really good, just like frontline soak for Zedekron potentially. He did, though, get the Berserker Charge, which is pretty interesting, even though he's still too far away to get any attacks in.
So he did take Holder. Yeah, it definitely seems like in every situation that was kind of a wasted bonding turn.
Yeah, I definitely would have loved to have gotten Guilty a little bit closer to the front lines. If you can slowly work Guilty up to that level 4 plateau or even the level 5 hexes on top of it, that's just such a nice spot to be able to sit back with 7 range and double attack.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how Agentward was planning on using Guilty here. Like, if you want to do that, you probably start him towards the north so you can advance more safely.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, maybe he's looking at taking the 3 bridge because he's planning on Holder being battled over.
Oh, that
So
makes sense.
he could attack figures that are threatening that, but don't know, and he declined that move. So we do see Zetacron here taking that nice spot and rolling a lot of skulls. So maybe
Oh,
he did. Maybe
man.
it was good. Maybe it was good he didn't move Valgard over there because you wouldn't want him to have seen that attack.
Yeah, that's true. And now we hit the part of the game where I lacked the foresight to see Zetacron hanging out where he'd be covered by the text box.
It's an enjoyable part of the game.
Valgard coming in a little bit closer, but kind of swinging a little bit further south. It's
Yeah, seems like a little bit of non-committal for him. I'm sure he's worried about being within Zetacron's range, but at this point, either got a threat in the middle of the map, which Valgard's not doing, or probably make a charge against Zetacron, especially since he's still out of Raylan's aura.
Yeah, if you can catch him while he's up there, but still out of Raylan's aura, that'll be a big help.
Obviously Valgard's a lot of points, and he can do some nice things, but you might want to consider how valuable it is to knock Zetacron out of the game, and you having Guilty McCreech. That just changes the complexion of the game if you can sit back with Guilty and force him to come to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially I mean, like just talking about the map again, if you're playing to the map like that, and you take out your opponent's ranged figures so that you can have the only one, I feel like that's a pretty big, not like a slam dunk condition, but it's a pretty strong win condition.
Yeah, so the thing Agentward will have to worry about is just Zetacron just staying up there and blasting away. And to combat that, he's either got to charge at Zetacron, or he's got to start earning some attacks himself, which means charging into the monks, who right now are not fully in Raylan's aura. So you got to expect a Raylan order marker here early in this. And how it's set up, man, Zetacron's, since he did not pursue Zetacron in that first round, he'd have to either bank on some Berserker charges or really commit to sending forces over there, because it doesn't look like it's would happen early.
Right. Yeah, I wonder do you think you'd try to just rush out with figures as quickly as you can to try to catch Zetacron while he's still a little vulnerable? Or the other thing I'm thinking about is maybe trying to just crawl across, get up onto the level 4 height where it's a little more protected by trees as well, and kind of slow roll until you're in more of a position to try to make stronger assaults. Of course, that gives your opponent time to set up with Raylan a little bit better, maybe?
Yeah, it's tough. You kind of have to evaluate at the start of the round. If you think he's going to send Raylan towards Zetacron, it's probably more risky, and maybe you try something different. But if you see how Raylan's set up in the south, honestly, you may not have assumed that he was going to send Raylan up north, because why not start her there?
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I'm not sure. So
yeah, and looking at it, I mean, I think the nice thing about, even though Zetacron's clear up top, there's not a great Raylan placement for Superfrog right now. He can either commit fully to the monks, or if he tries to cover Zetacron, he's going to be missing some of his monks the way they've been set up.
Right. I'll say it was an interesting decision, really, to commit to Dagmar by Agentward here, because he took it on I think his second turn, which Zetacron killed that Dreadcool, but he took it again. But I'm not sure that initiative was really that important this round.
Right, yeah. I forgot that was Dagmar, actually. So I'm just oh, you took a glyph. Okay, that's cool. But I think I was thinking Valda for some reason. But yeah, no, Dagmar's a...
That would change my mind. That would have been worth it.
Oh, yeah, Valda would have been great.
So did he... No, he moved Valgard up, right?
Yeah, he moved up Valgard. Left the glyph. Let's see. Okay, Dagmar is not... Oh, it's on level 2 grass. Interesting. I need to get used to this map. Usually I just know these things.
Oh, that's a big charge.
Oh, yeah. 8, 1, 2.
Or at least will allow him to engage Zetacron.
Yeah, nice. So that's a nice turn for him.
Yeah, superfrog with the appropriate oof.
Mm-hmm. And so since he did bond, that's only going to be a 3v5, but that is nice to have that distraction / just an engaged figure right there. Superfrog's got, let's see, 1 order marker on Zetacron, 2 on Master Lao, and 1 on Raylan. So
yeah, you got to assume 1's on Raylan. Not the first one, but at least one of these order markers is. And a big whiffer.
Yep, big blank and a nice oof in the other way.
Yeah, I don't know what
Yep.
the French translation for oof is. It's probably got a U in it. And there's Raylan. Yeah, see, if he had pushed Valgard in that first round, just all three turns with Valgard, right now would be pretty sweet setup for him. You know, it's easy to say Valgard would have taken some shots from Zedekron coming in, which is not super desirable. But you know, if he's got to use an order marker on Raylan to position in the second round, which he does, because even those northern monks are out of Raylan's aura, then you can really get some flexibility out of a charge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even if he'd the route he ended up taking with Valgard was a pretty safe one, so I think even if he'd just done that, instead of foregoing the bonding that one turn, he'd still be in a pretty good spot.
Or like you mentioned at the time, it's spending a couple turns on if you're not going to aggressively push Valgard into the fight a little recklessly, but if you feel like you need it to take a few pieces, then you know why not send out Guilty a little bit somewhere just to have them developed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just ready to take some shots and shoot Raylan maybe. That's a spot for her.
Yeah, it's protected from attacks. I don't think she could see Zedekron from that spot, but
yeah, no, not from
that
within that ruin. I think Superfrog's giving up on Zedekron, or must be, or just be banking on 5 defense.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably count on Zedekron absorbing a couple more attacks, but if he moved to cover Zedekron, he'd just be leaving all those monks prone to attacks. And the one thing Agentward's done well here is set himself up for such a charge against those monks if Raylan hadn't pushed up to protect him.
Mm-hmm. So I think that is probably the better position to just go full on the monks, because at this point, I mean, Zedekron, while great, kinda needs to take care of himself. There's also only the one Dreadgold though, and so you could send a monk up to help with that.
Yeah, 1 or 2, right? What does Lao Zin? Does he need line of sight?
I believe he does. Yeah, just clear sight. No space limit though.
Man, they're making you really feel silly now. I moved that Dreadgold has just disappeared, but I think he's behind Zedekron.
I know.
I think that Dreadgold's moved to even ground with Zedekron.
Oh yeah, because that is a 3 hex up top there. So that'd be a 3v4. That'll be nice, actually.
Another charge.
Nice.
So yeah, missing some stuff here, but yeah. So Raylan's placement has I thought it was a fairly good placement because it was going to take a charge for the Dreadgolds to get to her, but that has happened. And,
right.
Now he's got two on her with the extra attack. Zedekron did take a wound, and wow.
Oh, Raylan that is big on Raylan.
Yeah, it's a game changer if he can finish her off. I thought it was decent Raylan position just because he would have needed a charge to get these attacks, which he got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agreed. I wasn't seeing Raylan being attacked very quickly in this round, but
did block that last attack, which was important.
That's nice.
Yeah, it looks like just leaning into the monks now. The counter attack by the monks is just going to be so strong. You know, when you're coming in with melee, and they're living, it's just going to be so easy for each one to get multiple attacks off per figure. And not to mention with Master Lao, you're getting a hero attack with them too.
Yeah, those monks are, and I mean, if Superfrog positions correctly, he could even avoid another run at Raylan.
Absolutely correct, and that's kind of one of the things that makes attacking Raylan, who's in a position, a nice defensible position, and not even height I'm speaking about, but just how difficult it is to get multiple attacks off her in a given order marker. If you don't kill her, I mean, you've given, a 1-life Raylan's given just as much aura as a full-life Raylan. So if you don't kill her, you've given away those Dreadgolds for free.
Right, yeah. And that's I mean, looking at this turn for Superfrog now, I mean, it was looking really, really good for Agentward there, but and if Superfrog just wipes up these Dreadgolds, then it hasn't really amounted to too much longer. I mean, I guess Guilty can still snipe and take the last 2 wounds for Raylan.
Mm-hmm. No, all true.
I was worried there I was going to have to eat my own words the way those attacks were going, though.
He did miss the first 2 attacks, but he had 3 more, I think, and they went through. Plus, he's and an extra one from the hero too, right?
All right. Well, that was just shell and assault, so that one middle monk was able to attack twice.
Yeah, so he had 1, 2, 3, 4, potential 5 attacks with the squads.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I'm sorry, 4, and then plus the hero.
I keep wanting to reach over with my mouse and just move that to
move it,
because I'm pretty sure none of those monks could get adjacent to that Dreadgold that's adjacent to Zedekron, right?
Yeah, the none of the squads could. Chen Tang, I don't think has the
1, 2,
leap.
3, 4, 5,
But he
6. Yeah,
might
and
want.
6 move isn't enough.
Yeah, so maybe you set him up where he can next turn. But this is now with 3 wounds on Raylan, man. I'm sure Agentward would have liked to have Guilty in a position where he could have at least taken a high or an even ground attack on Raylan, but I think Guilty can't even do that. Even a low ground attack from where he is now on his next. Just thinking ahead to the next order marker because he is still holding Holder. So
yeah, like Holder's being really nice. It would have given him a really good opportunity here. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have his heroes in the right spots.
And he did move Chen Tang onto the other side of the ruin, so I guess he's not interested in that Dread Ghoul wailing on Zedekron.
Poor Zedekron.
Zedekron, where are you guys going? They're a party I did not get invited to.
Relegated to the diversion. Poor guy.
Okay, so if I'm reading into this, did he forego bonding again?
Maybe. I didn't see him move Dread Ghouls, I don't think. I might have missed it.
He rolled the D20, so
yeah.
I didn't see him move. Guilty and didn't move, and I don't think Valgard did either. Oh, but you're saying did he move? Did he even move the?
Oh, okay. Those 2 he must have moved. Oh,
another charge.
19. Holy cow! Well, yeah. Okay. Looks like that's the story of this game.
I wouldn't recommend banking on 2 Berserker charges to be able to get to Raylan as your attack there to forego the hero, but if you can get it to work.
I know, right?
And now Zedekron is dead. I do think it's an interesting discussion on how valuable it is to forego the hero bonding versus getting +1 attack for 3 squads.
I think I think it makes a lot of cool decision points in game. Like same thing with like axe grinders and their ability to forego bonding for +2 move. Makes for some really cool decision points because you could get 3 attacks of 4. But I think in this situation, it's pretty gutsy from Agentward to be doing it, where he doesn't have the guaranteed attacks without the really nice Berserker charges, which he's had.
Yeah.
It's interesting in that like it's been playing off, and it's just very much something I wouldn't do because I never rely on Berserker charge at all because I feel like it never works for me. I'm sure it's average for me, and I just have a negative view of it. But
right. No, I think you're right. I mean, all he had guaranteed, that turn was an attack on Zedekron, and he just the conditional chance of the Berserker versus developing Guilty. And I don't know. At this point, Guilty hasn't been moved at all, so he is. It's going to take a couple turns of him. So maybe he'd rather take that risk, and maybe he saw his opportunity against Raylan closing. If those monks can get into position, Raylan's not going to see any attacks unless Guilty comes in, but.
Yeah, and I can see that because, I mean, like, I think I would have just been working on Guilty, but I can kind of see the risk it for the biscuit mentality where you just want to finish off Raylan because, I mean, like you said earlier, if Raylan's not completely dead, she's still doing Raylan stuff. And
yeah, but if you're going to do that, man, Valgard should be in there. Throw 6 attack at her once, right? If you think you can make those gaps to get a figure in there, you want it to be Valgard. I think it's tough though, right? If that happens, Valgard's going to get absolutely surrounded, and he may hold on, but he's not going to get his first assault without some any longer.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think and that's why I kind of like this matchup too, because you've got like that Valgard tank who can survive a lot, but he needs to be disengaging to make full use of his powers. The Dreadghoul Raiders hit hard, but they also only have 3 defense, and when you're taking attacks from that many monks, streaming them in doesn't really pay off as much as you'd like it.
Right. Yeah, I think monks are really fun. I mean, the stealth move of 3, the stealth leap is just gives you so much flexibility once you get engaged in a battle. Plus, whirlwind assault is pretty dang good. It's especially against struggle against range because they're high priced and having to move them in against that range. But boy, they're fun if you get them in a heat of battle or just a melee matchup like this.
Yeah, I could easily see heat of battle with them. That'd be a great time. They're definitely an army I want to toy around with a lot more. I haven't played them very much at all.
So I guess we'll see Valgard take the. Well, he's thinking. Nope, he's gonna. Guilty. Thought he might use Valgard to take Holder there.
Interesting. Yeah, Valgard would actually be really good for that.
Yeah, I think I'll tell you what I think I would have done is I would have used Valgard to take Holder because you're gonna get the first assault and get that with Holder. It would have been a 6 on, I guess, 5 against that monk, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now you have Holder is just locked down with Valgard for several turns, and then you can really lean on Guilty. Now that Zedekron's gone, you can lean on Guilty having Holder. That's pretty slick, right?
Right.
And if he wants to surround Valgard, then he's going to have to do so with a couple units out of Raylan's aura, which again, just at that point, you can set Guilty up on that 3-level bridge and just get attacks of 3 and 4 down.
Right? That just sounds so nice.
but this Dreadghoul taking Holder, he's going to be a lot like you'd expect that Dreadghoul to be killed next turn by a monk or a monk hero, both of which are going to be covered by Raylan. I think you would prefer to have Valgard sitting there taking up lots of attacks, but basically just giving you Holder to help Guilty get 2 attacks down on any battle that's occurring around Holder.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense to me. And I think it hurts so much when you take a glyph just to lose it before you can even utilize it. And I feel like you said, I feel like that's just what's going to happen right there. I could kind of see Agentward being worried about Superfrog taking the glyph. But in that case, taking it with Valgard just seems a lot nicer.
Yeah, and you do, you take it with Valgard there too. You probably leave yourself open some flexibility. If you see a gap against Raylan, you could move him off there to take that too. Likely he's going to be in the immediate future surrounded.
Mm-hmm.
But just being able to utilize, especially at this point, he's got 5 Dreadghouls left. Just being able to keep Guilty engaged in the battle with 2 attacks instead of 1, and if one of them's boosted, that's your opportunity to take some pot shots at Raylan or really get set up and draw him out. Because right now, I don't think he's got much incentive to just take the shots on the Holder guy and keep within Raylan's aura and force Agentward to do something different.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice game for Superfrog right now. Oh, nice! Even taking the high block up with the
yeah, just leaping around.
Oh, but he's out of Raylan's aura. There you go. Big opening right there.
All right. Yeah, so he's safe from there except from Guilty or a Berserker Charge, which
we've seen a lot of.
Yeah.
I was wondering the same thing, wondering if he was going to take those attacks with him. But yeah, it is kind of interesting the way this is developed because, we're talking earlier about...
no good deed.
Right.
Sorry, yeah, how it's developed.
Yeah, just like with... Because Superfrog is the one who's lost his ranged figures, but his board position seems stronger on the whole, mainly because of Raylan.
Right.
It just makes approaching that pretty difficult. Let's see, if you're Agentward, do you... I think I'm answering my own questions. I'm asking it, but I'll still ask it. Do you sit back and take... would you sit back and take shots with Guilty at this point and just, kind of pick off Shaolin monks to kind of force Superfrog to move around a bit and just regroup with your Dreadghouls while you're doing that? Or would you maybe try to move in and snipe Raylan, or do what you were talking about earlier now and move in with Valgard?
Yeah, I think at how the position was before Valgard moved, with, as you mentioned, that monk moved out of Raylan's aura, I think I would have moved Guilty onto the bridge and taken 2 attacks of 2v4 at that monk, and then probably regroup my Dreadghouls. You got Guilty in the army for a reason, right? Zedekron's not on the board, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you just kind of want to play to that advantage. And I think that's the other thing that's kind of been... bugging me about Agentward's development is just how his Dreadghouls have become so spread out, and now you've got 2 by Guilty, 1 behind the enemy lines, 1 on the glyph, and 1 still up on the road, just kind of all over the place, and so he can't really make a focused attack.
Yeah, it feels like he prioritized Dagmar, I think, more than maybe he should have, and maybe those guys were going to make a charge on Zedekron, but at the beginning of this, he kind of split up his Dreadghouls, right? Some to the north, some to the middle to guard against Holder, and that's hurting him now. Superfrog, you could argue, did the same thing with Zedekron up north and his monk south, but as soon as Zedekron was threatened, he abandoned Zedekron and just said, okay, well, I'm going to pot up here with everybody. And nothing that Agentward's done has really hurt him from doing that.
Right. Almost looked like that Raylan snipe was going to happen, but without I think if the Raylan snipe had gone through, it'd be pretty nice for Agentward. Well, I'm sure Superfrog would have still developed about the same, but...
Yeah, but, with if Zedekron had also gone down, then Guilty really is licking his chops at 3
Oh, yeah.
defense monks and repositioning there. It's it's a I mentioned it earlier, right? The 2 life Raylan here is just as valuable as the full health Raylan. So if you can't finish her off, if you can't be confident you're going to have opportunities to finish her off, then I think in general you need to rethink the attacks, because those Dreadcools that came in and got those wounds on Raylan, they were kind of just given away.
Yeah. And I think that's something, actually, to just kind of like plug the game that you played on this map in the other semifinal game. There was a lot of repositioning going on where both you and Dysel definitely took your time in making sure you had your figures in the places that you wanted them to make the attacks when you needed to.
Yeah, timing's really important, I think, for considering some of that. Like if you're going to make a push, you don't want to do it if you want initiative that round. So I know sometimes you can, even at the expense of, man, it's a really good attack, but if the threat of the initiative switch is there in the game, then probably repositioning is the better call. And in this game, it's even a little different, right? Because he's got guilty. So to me, no question, unless you've got some very high percentage opportunity, you want to be repositioning your troops around guilty, taking pot shots.
Yeah, right. If you can reposition and still be attacking at the same time, that's the dream.
So meanwhile, that one Dreadghoul is really wailing on Chen Tang a little bit, right? He's put two wounds on that hero.
That's
and
true.
He hasn't died yet.
I keep looking over in that little area. I'm like, oh wait, that guy's still alive.
Yeah, he's got 5 Dreadghouls left. I might have misspoke earlier, but yeah, he's got that one by the ruin near Superfrog's start zone.
And Superfrog's done with that. Dreadghoul.
Yeah, it seems
taking an attack down on Dreadghoul trying to climb the hill. That's an interesting. That kind of strikes me as a weird position to have put that Dreadghoul on that level 3 hex right by the Shaolin monk.
Oh yeah, he did that. I get, why not? I've been berserkering charge all day. Put him there.
Yeah, that's true.
And it didn't go down. So yeah, attacking down. So the monk attacks have missed so far. Did kill that Dreadghoul. Yeah, so he's gonna forego the attack on the Dreadghoul to get one on Valgard. Blocked. Or did not block. He gets an automatic skull, right? Master allows in.
Automatic skull.
I do question. Sorry, Agentward. I probably feel like we've been ragging on you a little bit more this game, but I do wonder if Superfrog would have been better off just ignoring that Dreadghoul until he came around for an attack, because then when he's doing that, he's in Raylan's aura.
Right.
Because, and it's unlucky that that Dreadghoul still survived, but he's kind of being a thorn in Superfrog's side over there.
Yeah, I could see just waiting for that. That was kind of what I was thinking a little bit earlier. Just because, that's only one attack that's going to come from that Dreadghoul Raider. You'll have Raylan's aura to help you hopefully block that. If you don't, then you still have a pretty good lead. So it's not like the worst thing.
Right, and you could even position if you're worried about that Dreadghoul getting to Raylan, right? You could wall off that west end of Raylan so that the Dreadghoul couldn't get to Raylan at all without attacking a Raylan boosted monk. And you're giving up first strike to do that, but it's a lot more safer play, I think. Meanwhile, I talked about using Guilty all game, and Guilty missed 2 attacks on Raylan. So
yeah, poor Guilty.
And that's a really, really rough spot, I think, for Guilty to be in. Just because the monk can leap over in between the 2 heroes and get both of them. I know that was probably the only shot he could take and to get Raylan, but I probably still would have just retreated, had him on the 3 bridge, and still attacked that same monk we talked about earlier, right? The one who's outside Raylan's aura. I still would have missed with those rolls, but you're not putting Guilty in mortal danger yet.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think this kind of feels like a final push.
Yeah.
Just trying to hope to get everything to line up for him. Which, I think that's kind of where Agentward's hitting. Valgard's still pretty healthy, but where he's getting tied down, he's not going to be able to use his first assault as much.
Oh.
There's a monk down. There you go.
Yeah. So, that same Dreadghoul, man, he's doing some work over there. So that, I think, sometimes I like doing this, just tracking a single figure. So I think that Dreadghoul has killed Zetacron.
Oh, that is, yeah.
A monk and 2 wounds on Chen Tang. So he's
nice.
he should be upgraded to unique hero status, I think, after this game.
There you go. This is the Dreadgul that's carrying the game.
Else could be
Come on, man. Come on, man.
rooting for him now.
I'm very
He's
rooting
still
for
alive.
him.
Still alive.
I want to see this Dreadgul go places.
Yeah. Agentward will have to set him up a painting in the Louvre or something for that. Yeah, and things don't look good on the other side of the map, though. Three monks are...
Yeah, lots of Shaolin Assault going on. This could be really bad for Guilty.
Yeah, 2 attacks at 3.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Ouch. 3 skulls onto Guilty.
Yeah, and that always feels bad when Guilty gets close to the fight and then gets taken out with 1 hit, which has happened for me a good amount of times.
Yeah, it was a tough spot. I mean, so that turn probably happens if Raylan dies or not. So we're looking at the same spot. That he took those 2 attacks on Raylan.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if he'd been more conservative, like I said, he could have taken those shots up at the monk. With the rolls, it wouldn't have accomplished any more. But Guilty would still be more protected here.
Yeah, definitely. I think like if he'd forced superfrog to reposition it all by taking pot shots with Guilty, I think that potentially gives him a good opening.
Yeah, I mean, he probably still, with the numbers as there, probably still, I mean, maybe another order mark on Raylan and then Superfrog charges forward. It probably doesn't do too much, but he's had Dagmar the whole game, so there's that.
He's actually never needed Dagmar for the initiative wins, though.
Okay, Valgard gives another monk down.
There you go, leaving Dagmar, climbing over the mountain. And now we've got the most important Dreadgul of the game. Still ready to carry.
King Dreadgul. We need a good name for him.
King Dreadgul. I like that. Wait, hang on. Isn't there like a leader of the Dreadguls? Oh, that's Valgard.
That
was a silly question. It's a lot of charges this game. I'm really impressed with that.
It is.
These Dreadguls are all hopped up on something.
Here's a shout out for True that those Dreadguls are going to have a very large credit card debt with all that charging.
I like that. I'm going to share that with True.
All right.
He gets 1 more charge. You can attack with that other Dreadgul too.
Yeah. So I missed his orders. Were they? Do you recall what they were? Were they 3 on Dreads, 1 on Val, or he's only got 2 left?
Well, that's a good question. I don't remember.
Okay. And King Dreadgul with another wound on Chen Tang.
There we go. He's killing it over there, literally.
Yeah. So I think Superfrog doesn't need to do anything out of the ordinary here, right? Just probably shouldn't reach out for that monk or that Dreadgul on the level 5. Let him come in and just keep attacking.
Take a couple attacks on Valgard, try to finish him off. I mean, you don't have a prayer against King Dreadgul, so don't worry about that.
just try to keep it as close as possible. He's going out. He's going in at him.
Yep. It's a futile effort. It's a futile effort.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know. I mean, he's got a pretty sizable lead here. I don't know that you needed to move that monk that he did on the other side of Valgard only because it's out of Raylan's range. So that Dreadgul on the height now is going to get a rare 3v3.
Yeah, I think like if he had a decent shot at both Dreadguls, I probably would have done it just to try to steal an order marker. But where you weren't able to get that last one, I probably wouldn't have worried about it. But yeah, no wounds for Superfrog that round.
So this is interesting. Do you think at this setup, first I don't think that, I know he was outside of Raylan's aura, but I don't necessarily think that was the best attack. I might have taken the 3v5 on the other monk just because the Dreadgul can get a 3v3 on that one. But I guess my question was going to be, do you think the better move there would have been to triple disengage Valgard to get that monk that's up north for a 5v3?
Triple disengage?
Yeah, he got 6 life, so that's maybe why you consider it.
Right, yeah. I think I probably would have done what Agentward did, take that 3v3, and then use the Dreadgul to hit 4v3 down on the other monk.
Oh yeah, he could swing. Yeah, no, that's a better call. Yeah, I thought that ruin extended 1 more than it did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, because he can move that guy over to that monk. That's definitely the better call.
Though I would love to see a lot of cool Valgard disengages.
Ooh, so I'm gonna guess that Agentward didn't see that either, or maybe he wants this opening for Raylan.
Yeah, just wants to finish what he started.
King Dreadgul
takes down Chen Tang. Nice.
Add that to his belt there. Zetakron, all Chen Tang, and 1 monk for that Dreadgul here.
Yeah, superfrog doesn't have a prayer.
So, so I thought it was a small thing engaging that one Dreadghoul on the other side of the wall outside of Raylan, but now it seems like maybe that was a big thing.
Yeah, right.
I do wonder here if Agent Ward just missed that attack opportunity on the monk, or if he said, "Hey, I want this opportunity to hit Raylan." It's also possible that was a second order marker, and he only had two Dreadghoul Raiders to start this round, so maybe he got number 3 on Valguard.
I could see that. That would actually make a lot of sense.
Although I don't know. I say that, and I still think the better move's probably to attack that monk, though.
Right, because then it's still far enough away that if it survives, it's making things difficult, kind of, sort of. I mean, like, as difficult as things really get for Superfrog at this point.
Oh, King
no.
Dreadghoul. It was quite the run. I'll have a drink of mead for that guy tonight.
We will remember him fondly.
So the other interesting discussion going on now between the game is that so Superfrog looks like he decided to just do extra attacks on Valguard instead of attacking that Dreadghoul because he's predicting Order Marker 3 is on Valguard.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that reasoning. I think I probably still would have just gone for that Dreadghoul.
Yeah, so a corollary of something that's mentioned sometimes on here is that if you're so far behind, you've got to make, what does winning look like, right? You've got to make risky plays to win. I think the opposite side of that coin is what does losing look like for Superfrog, and probably losing involves, at the time, 2 Dreadghouls were still on the board, but the Dreadghouls surviving 2 or 3 order markers and getting attacks off. So, if he killed that Dreadghoul instead of doing a wound on Valguard, you know what? You've still got 6 monks, Raylan, and your hero against Valguard. You're going to win that. So what does losing look like? It's the last 1 or 2 Dreadghouls doing damage. So, looking at it from that perspective, I think, probably yes, the smarter play is just Valguard attacks because it's probably not on Raiders, although here it is on the Raiders.
Right.
So, what does losing look like? It's that Raider staying alive and getting 2 to 3 more attacks off and doing damage.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think the other big factor for me in that is, like, even if the Order Marker 3 is on Valguard, that's 6 wounds that you need to deal against 4 defense, and I just don't really see that happening with 2 monks and Master Lao Jin. It's definitely possible, but you need a lot of good stuff to go your way.
Yeah, you would need a couple King Dreadghouls still on your team.
I know, right? And turns out this last Dreadghoul is King Dreadghoul's twin brother, and he's about to just flip it all.
Oh, well, there you go. The twins stayed alive. Oh,
yep, it's his twin brother.
You called it. Raylan goes down. And just maybe touching back on the conversation we've had earlier in this game, that I called them wasted attacks by the Dreadghouls on Raylan. So, at this point at the end game, you would say, okay, well, Kevin, they're not actually wasted attacks because they did 3 wounds and he wouldn't have killed Raylan there. If those 3 wounds hadn't been done earlier, I guess I would say it's too it's too late.
Yeah.
There's 1 Dreadghoul and Valguard left, and barring a lot of circumstances, he's not winning this game. Whereas those, I don't know what the total number is, but it's 3, maybe 4 Dreadghouls he threw in at Raylan. I think those would have been better served doing something different.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that comes into another thing that I've heard a lot when it comes to just, like, especially fighting against, like, Raylan plus whatever Raylan supporting, or even, like, I guess you even have it in this game where you've got, like, bonding champions plus the bonding squads, is just choosing when to focus down first, because if you spread out your attacks too much, then you're just going to get torn apart in the meantime. And so I can kind of see where, like, focusing on Raylan too much earlier on just provided opportunities for...
It can be a nightmare. Raylan's secret power is absorbing attacks more so than giving +2 defense in a lot of situations, because if your opponent stretches themselves out to attack Raylan, 3 defense, 5 life doesn't go down easy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just giving the Raylan army so much time to just pound on you and from a better position.
This is... Valguard's still pretty tough. If it weren't for Master Lao Jin, I'd say Agentward could have the potentiality of pulling this off.
Yeah, right.
Agentward's still pulling those...
Still getting those initiatives. Yeah, and if the dice had hold the same way they rolled now, Valguard has been pretty pretty tanky against a lot of attacks.
Mhm.
I just go back to if he'd taken a Holder glyph with Valgard earlier and then just switched strictly to a more conservative Guilty, could have gone a lot differently if Guilty's just sitting back attacking those figures at the Holder glyph or attacking the monk that had moved out of Raylan's aura. Could have given him a chance to ping his way back into the game.
Yeah, especially, I mean, like, we were talking about it at the time, but especially with hindsight being 2020 here, and like that just looks like the dream with Guilty getting extra attacks off Valgard. Because I mean, Superfrog doesn't have. Well, Superfrog's easy way to deal with Valgard was Zedekron, but with Zedekron going down pretty early, that makes things pretty nice for Valgard.
When you let King Dreadghoul into the Zedekron party, he's not going to live very long.
I know, right?
So his twin brother here has now killed Raylan and a monk. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're a strong.
And
family.
this is it's going to be hindsight here, right? But we talked about should Superfrog have attacked that last Dreadghoul, tried to kill him. That last Dreadghoul's doing quite a bit of damage, and I still think Superfrog's comfortably ahead. But what does losing in that situation look like? It's exactly what's happening with that Dreadghoul, right?
Yeah.
He's going around with that extra attack and doing damage. I can't. It'd be hard for me to believe Agentward would continue to put order markers on that Dreadghoul, but we'll see. And now the attacks are coming really hard on.
Yeah, right after we're talking about how awesome Valgard is.
Although he did just roll three.
That is
shields.
nice.
And yep, order markers have moved to Valgard, which is probably understandable.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. That's something. One of my least favorite things about Endgame is trying to guess where to put my order markers.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's an initiative has such a big thing to do about it. But I always think that's fun. I kind of get sad with so many armies that are just all bonding.
Or yeah,
it's so obvious where the order markers go. At a close end game, it's fun with the order markers definitely.
Yeah, trying to snipe.
Trying to guess or snipe where they've got them. And that's it.
There we go. King Dreadghoul Jr. and Valgard taking the fall. Rest in peace, guys.
He came back a little bit in the end there that made it closer, but too big of a hole early.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was like that early game that just. I mean, we saw that gap getting bigger and bigger between Agentward and Superfrog. I mean, I think Agentward did a lot of good things. I think it was just like a little bit of timing and positioning that really made that gap. I'm trying to decide if banking on Berserker charges was good or not when those banks actually went through. Because usually I'd say you shouldn't bank on it that hard, but it worked.
Yeah, I think he just got into trouble with splitting his forces up too much early, and I guess I would say not using Guilty enough.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, anytime I see Dreadghouls with Guilty, I mean, it's a similar situation to like Romans with Meebergsaw. You want to be using that ranged bonding hero a bunch. Not 100% of the time, but I mean, it's a great way to just get lots of value out of a low-cost figure.
And I think Agentward was probably worried about Superfrog controlling Holder with Zedekron and the monk heroes just packing so much of a punch. But the way it played out, his concentration on both glyphs really was to his detriment in this game.
Yeah, Dagmar. I mean, again, that's another hindsight is 2020, but Dagmar never helped Agentward at all because he was fine that whole time. And I don't think there were any crucial initiatives anyway until like right there at the end.
No, I think you're right.
Well, it looks like Superfrog was thinking about doing a Zedekron pod.
Yeah, let's setting it up over there. Yeah, I think, I mentioned it's kind of a boring setup, but probably the best. Depends on how comfortable Zedekron can get coverage across the board. But yeah, just setting up Raylan over there. I don't even think he would have needed to move Raylan. Just set up monks all around Zedekron and fire away.
A pretty neat setup.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for doing this game with me, Kevin. This is a really good one.
Glad it was fun. I enjoyed it.
I was really happy to have you on board. I mean, like I've seen so many of your games, and I mean, like you're like one of my favorite players to watch. So it was really cool to be able to talk about a game with you.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you.
So yeah, that's our game for today. Before we sign off, do you have anything you'd like to share with the viewer who's watching this currently, or anything at all?
No, I would just make a generic plug for online Heroscape. If I would assume most people watching this have probably made their decision on whether they want to play it or not. But if you're unsure on the fence, send me a PM on heroscapers.com. I'm usually available to do a test game with somebody, show you the ropes. So I'll make a plug for that, and I'll make a quick plug for VC2, the custom units, which you saw several in this game. Just continuing the brand as Heroscape as best as us fans can. So any interest in that, send me a message too. But thank you so much for having me on. It was good to break down the game like this.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for joining me, and I can definitely endorse is the word coming to mind. That sounds a little strong coming from me, but I can definitely endorse both of those plugs. I mean, Online Escape is awesome. I do a lot of it. I think my first online game was actually against Kevin. He showed me the ropes, and it was a good time. My first loss to him, and it was good. But yeah, definitely. And I always actually have a link to the online match request thread in the description. So if you're not sure where to get started, you can always check out there. Somebody can show you the ropes. There's also a link to the how to play online thread, dealio on Heroscapers. So that's another good one to check out. But yeah, thanks again for joining me. Everybody have a great day. Remember how glorious the world is, and we'll see you all when we see you all virtually, kind of, sort of, when you see the stuff that we record. Yeah. Anyway, 10 points under and out.